right, let's move on to the old vaccine passports, which have apparently been shelved because they haven't been kicked to the curb properly, which actually has some Tory MPs pretty pissed off about. So we'll have to go into that.
Yeah, it's a bit of, we won't do it, but we're going to have it in the background in case you're naughty.
Yeah, that's it. Now, obviously, the Pimlico Plumbers Ponce, Shit Rod, or Poundland Rod Stewart, he's not going to be happy about this, is he? Let's be honest.
No.
He's going to be screaming from the rooftops at Boris Johnson for backtracking on this one.
Yeah, from his foreign home.
Now, as many might remember, these so-called medical papers, please bullshit, required you to have proof of a double jab, no tests allowed, none of that shit, which is actually causing protests in France, and theirs includes a bloody test, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this would have been for pubs, clubs, restaurants, football grounds, festivals, pretty much anything you could imagine outside of below 500 capacity, I think it was, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, they've shelved it because of a variety of different things. Most importantly, people's opposition to it. You look at any poll against this, it's massively against it being put in. Then you also have to factor in businesses are dead set against this, whether it be pubs and clubs, restaurants, lower league football teams, because we know the Premier League were fully supportive of it at one point. Theatres have gone against it, and of course festivals, because they'll just start illegal raves and it won't even really matter. Many people have said this. I've seen it all over the internet as well.
You can fully understand the companies doing that as well. I mean, the government are effectively saying you're going to have to discriminate against half of your customer base.
Well, yeah,
effectively removing half of the money. Yeah, exactly.
As I've said multiple times, money talks and bullshit walks. And some companies just can't afford to lose that sort of money. Others will say that they're going to do this because of a virtue signal, and then eventually they'll have to backtrack on it quicker than Boris Johnson has if they start losing money. Because at the end of the day, a business needs to earn money. And this is part of that.
They were hoping that the companies would stumble themselves into liability, I think.
Well, it's not even that. They were hoping the companies would go along with what they've said, like they've done for most of the last 18 months. But obviously now, a lot of what the government have said has happened, or what they said had to happen for them to get all these freedoms back. And when they're trying to bring stuff in against that, companies are like, hell no, we're not up for this. This is bang out of order. Now, obviously, there needs to be something said about the select Tory MPs who bothered to stand against this bullshit. There hasn't been exactly as many as there should have been, but there has been a fair few, so we have to say that they've played some part at least, and are apparently, as we'll see in a minute, continuing to play a part because the plans have been shelved and they're pretty pissed off about it.
Well, I say we need people to stand up and be counted now, don't we?
Well, obviously. Well, plenty of the public have stood up and be counted. You take a look at any of the protests against these medical passports.
All over Europe, it's kicking off big time.
France was kicking off yesterday, apparently.
France,
then you have
Greece, Spain.
Everywhere. And Greece has actually sacked 6,000 doctors, though that's more of a mandatory jab thingy rather than a vaccine passport there. But they still have their green pass over there, and the shit's hitting the fan with that.
Yeah.
Now, there is another thing that we should point out on this. When the government put it in, many said that it was done just to encourage young people to get the jab, which has worked. I've heard of many people who went and done it simply because Boris said that they won't be able to go to a pub or a club or do this or that. Some people have gone and got it done for the football. Now,
well, I'm calling it threat politics.
In my book, that's a threat or coercion at least, because you're threatening to limit someone's social life for something that was never really going to become law anyway and is morally reprehensible, let's be honest.
Well, technically, we've been doing that all the way through the 18 months, haven't we? I mean, it was 14 days to flatten the curve, then it went up to even more, and it's because people weren't doing as they told. And then it went up to the jibby-jabby, and then it's always been threat politics, each level. Do this or we'll do that. Do this or we'll do this.
Yeah, but have you seen now that they've done that, yeah? I'll make you completely right on what you're saying there. But it's now proven to us that people power can win the day.
Oh, yes.
If the public and businesses especially work together, then the government can't really implement anything. Some might remember when they brought in the laws for car seats for children. They purposely didn't bring it in for taxis and left a loophole in there because they knew taxis would go on strike and they would complain, their unions would shit the bed because, What, have they got to carry enough car seats to possibly hold 3 kids in a car? Where are they putting that and then still taking people shopping and things like this? It was
Yeah,
obviously never going to ride, so I'm assuming that's what it is. Same thing here. This wouldn't work because too many businesses were saying, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to stand for it. And then, of course, the public's like, no, we don't want this either.
yeah. They can't go against everything. Like you say, you're right. I do actually think it was always just a threat. The passport side of things, anyway. In other words, we're going to do this if.
I don't know. I don't know if it was just a threat. I think it may have
felt
started
like
as
coercion.
just a threat, but then when they thought they might be able to get it through and businesses were saying, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that, then they might have
Yeah,
thought, actually, we'll
granted,
go
I'll
along with
agree
it,
with that, yeah.
especially as Europe has done it in quite a few places. We know this government follows herd stupidity, so they would do it just by following everyone else if it seems palatable to the public. Obviously, in the
Yeah,
UK,
Twitter herb.
yeah, the public has said no. This is not on. We're not having it. We don't want any part of it. And businesses have stood up and said, you know what? Nor do we. And that's where
Yeah,
we
I
are now.
wouldn't if I was running a business. Not a chance.
And obviously, as we've said, and many people have actually said at this point, this government are slaves to appearances and obviously public opinion.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
If the public are not happy with what's going on, especially with Boris Johnson, he'll flip-flop like Chuka Ramuna did back in 2019, joining 4 parties in, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, yo-yo left back and forth.
Yep, that's exactly what Boris Johnson will do. And he's even left himself a opportunity with this one here, as you can see. Plan to keep vaccine passports in reserve faces Tory backlash because the MPs are pissed off that he's even considering this idea going forward after ruling it out apparently now. But we always know everything's possible at coming back. Anything Boris Johnson or any of these shit weasels say, you have to take with a massive pinch of salt. The sort of level of salt that's in the Dead Sea, I would suggest, actually. It's that
It
bad.
keeps the threat alive as well, doesn't it? Saying that it's in the back burner.
Of course. But
so it's just like extending the threat, really.
But I have to say, while I still remain sceptical about it, it is good news.
Oh yeah, and it proves that the power is still with us.
Yeah, oh yeah, we always wonder 100%. We always hold the power. The public always holds the power. It's all about consent. We say, the police, they police or are supposed to police by consent. The government more so has to govern by consent, or even if it's using sly tactics to get people's consent, it still has to do it, because if the public turns on them, there's too many people, which is partly why they also use the divide and conquer tactics, so they can keep people from banding together. This has been used by politicians forever, and is always going to be used, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is with this backtrack, you could call it, on the old jab passports, is that they're trying to get restrictions through as well, like the renewing of the old coronavirus legislation, 2020 or whatever it's called. Right. That is a bad idea to try and push through at a similar sort of time as you're trying to push through jab passports at the end of the month, and they might be voting on that tomorrow, apparently, the restrictions, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Oh, I'll have to watch that then, yeah.
But this could be why Boris has backtracked on this, and then you could see in a few months' time them coming back and saying, you know what, we're going to bring this in because this and that, which obviously, even if they're wrong, they'll do anyway, because take a look at, what was it, the second lockdown, with the data they gave being proven wrong within an hour, and yet we still went into the second lockdown. So it's all very possible, in my opinion. Now,
I mean, they're using the same lines they used last year as well, aren't they, at the minute? Of course we're going to get Christmas. Remember that old stuff? So now they're actually coming out and saying the same lines that they backtracked on last year, they're now saying again this year.
Well, that's what they've got. It's like with saving the NHS. That's an age-old trick used almost every winter because the NHS is apparently going to be overwhelmed. And yet they'll say it again this year as well. Now, following on from old Boris apparently shelving them for now, should we say, this has put some pressure on old Fish Lips up north to scrap her vaccine passports, which she passed the other day. And like I said to you earlier, is actually a good little chess move by Boris to do something different to what she's done, when she has literally followed him almost every step of the way until now.
Yeah, he's 4D Chester.
Yeah, I'd say he's fucking 10D Chester with this one, because what's she going to do? She's going to carry it on, and then people south of the border can do what they want and go about their business as they please, but people up north are going to have to show papers just to get into a pub or
Exactly.
a
Yeah,
club or something
exactly.
like that. Now that ain't going to
Well,
be palatable.
there's already voices out there kicking off about it. So I mean, it's already working.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the voices are going to be saying over the next week or two, especially as that comes into full force, and then in the UK or in the rest of the UK, nothing's happening. Actually, I don't know what's going on in Wales or Northern Ireland at this point, but as far
It's
as I'm
supposed to be
aware,
October the 1st. They're bringing it in, isn't it?
are they? Are they actually doing
October
it?
the 1st. It was supposed to be, but there's a lot of people saying that there's no infrastructure to cover it, nothing in place that they would even be able to do it.
And
So
that's
I don't
also
know.
another thing about why they've probably ditched it in England.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no way of
it's just
actually
not
doing this. What
possible.
they're going to do? Get people in all these places to start checking extra papers. A bouncer's got to check your ID. That's in his contract. These
Yeah,
businesses are going to have to pay his contract to be changed and all of this. He wants more money because he's going to get more abuse. No,
yeah, they're
not
going to have
worth
to
it.
hire a lot more people
Yeah.
with half of the custom.
Yeah, oh, possibly even less than that. Could be a little bit more.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not going to be what they want. It's not returning to the normal that the government promised these businesses when they shut, especially clubs, for like 18 months almost, didn't they? Or I think
Yeah.
it's about.
Well, I've heard people that have had both of the jibby jabbers, and they've said they wouldn't, because it's effectively proving your medical history to a complete
Everyone I know
stranger.
personally, and I know a lot of people that have had it, they've all said that they would never support
No.
passports or things like that, or keeping people out of places because they haven't done something the government wants. That's just lunacy, and even they will admit that.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah, I
again,
agree
there is always going
100%.
to be the zealots out there that think the other way, I suppose.